You want your manifestations, and we want them for you too. You are leading edge creators. You are in an environment where your thoughts do turn to things. And so we are not in any way wanting to talk you out of manifesting dollars and relationships and the beautiful things that you want to experience. We just want you to understand that if the manifestation is what's most important to you, and it hasn't happened yet, but it's most important to you, but it hasn't happened yet, but it's most important to you, then you are, if you're like most people, focused upon something that hasn't happened that's really important to you. So you're focused upon the absence of what you want. You're calibrating to it not being there. You don't mean to, but you can't help but notice it's not there. It's not there yet, or it was there and it got away. Or it's never been there, so you don't think it's coming. As we are playing together today, we want you to come to the realization that there are many desires that you could hold, that you could accomplish in this moment, and they are emotional desires. They are desires about feeling interest or feeling enthusiastic or feeling love or appreciation. These are desires about emotional states of being that you can accomplish now. You don't have to live in the absence of them. And if you will begin to look for things that produce within you the response of a positive, good feeling emotion, then you will be calibrating, you will be focused, calibrating a vibrational match to who you really are and what you really want, and therefore in that state, you will be open to letting in what you do want in all regards. You cannot want something that you don't have and be taking score all day, every day, about whether you have it or not, without calibrating against your own desire and best interest. Does that make sense to you? Because this is a universe that is based on attraction only. It's attraction only. No one's doing anything to you. No one's preventing anything from you. It's attraction, which you are letting in or not. So if you've got stuff happening that you don't want, you're attracting it. If you've got stuff you do want, you're attracting it. If you've got things that you want that you're not letting in, you are attracting the absence of those things. You are attracting by your attention to the absence. And so the word calibrate is our new favorite word that Esther has found to explain to you. She was talking to a friend who really gave her the word, speaking in terms of calibrating a guitar, calibrating the harmonics of an instrument to other instruments. If you're playing in an orchestra, no matter how big or small it is, and you're not in tune with the others that you're playing with, then it is discordant. And so the word calibrate is just the best word. But what is it that you are wanting to calibrate to? Well, we're going to take a very brief moment because we know that you've been listening to us for a while, in most cases, and you have a strong sense of this, but we're going to lay this basis really quickly. You are more than you see in these bodies. You are source energy, and in this body, you are an extension of that source energy. If you were all day long deliberately calibrating to that source that is at the basis of you, not just the basis of you, but to the furthermost extended part of you, then you would be calibrating to the wholeness of you, and you would therefore be in concert with all of your power and all of your expectation of good things for you, and you would be thriving in every aspect of your life experience. That source energy part of you from which you have come exists in non-physical, in that you can't see it, but is consciousness that is always aware of you. And that's what we meant when we said not just the source of where you came from, but infinitely tied to where you are now, in the sense that whenever you know what you don't want, you launch an equivalent vibrational wave, you might say, about what you do want. And your inner being, that source within you, calibrates to these new requests and new decisions all day, every day. So you are literally causing that non-physical part of you to expand. To be really fair, you're causing yourself to expand. But because you're so often in your human form, pinched off from that part of you, we call that your inner being in relationship to you, even though you were the same thing and technically are the same thing, except when you're not the same thing. You are the same thing as your inner being unless you're not. You might want to write that down. And when you're not the same thing as your inner being, negative emotion is present as the indicator that you're not letting yourself be calibrated to who you really are. When you're angry with someone, you're not who you are. You've pinched yourself off. Esther says to us, well, Abraham, clearly you need more information about that person. We know you want to feel good, but what we want to help you come to a decision about in these hours that we are together today, it would be so helpful for you if you would not spend so much time calibrating to those around you, and instead you would calibrate to your inner being. So it goes like this. I don't give a rip what you think. That's sort of how that goes. Because if they're in harmony with you, then you feel supported. But if they're not, then you feel attacked. And really, they are irrelevant. What they think about you is irrelevant. It's only what you think about what you think they think that is relevant. What they think doesn't matter to your calibration if you know what your source to which you're wanting to calibrate is. Now, we've been talking with you a long time, and we've told you that story in lots of different ways. But today, as we're moving along, you're going to hear it and feel it and know it in a different way. Because while you do seek harmony with others, and we want that, of course, for you, we don't want you to make a habit of looking for that alignment in places that aren't stable. And if you're looking for it in circumstances or events or other humans, it isn't stable. And then that confuses you. So you jump through this hoop and you jump through this hoop. When you come to think that getting the approval of others around you is what makes you live happily ever after, then they all have a big responsibility to you from your point of view that they're not going to keep up with, not even close. And so when you get it, where your strength is, where your clarity is, you may have heard us say, because we say it often, that one who's connected to source energy, we've called that the stream, the vortex, your source, your inner being. You sometimes want to call it God. One who's connected to that eternalness of you is more powerful than millions who are not. And yet most people are gathering together in groups, trying to get their strength from the cooperation and agreement of other humans around them. And if that's the world you're living in and that's the game you're playing in, then we get it that you'd want to be part of a big group who agrees with you, a loud group, an influential group. We get it that that would seem more productive and more valuable to you than to be affiliated with a small group that seems to have no power, blundering around and not knowing what they're doing. But we want you to understand that there is no comparison to your alignment with this source energy that is you, to even the largest, most influential group of humans that you might find in agreement with you on some points. It's like the difference between a firecracker and an atomic bomb. That's not even an accurate enough explanation of the bigness of the value and the power of you connecting with your source energy. So you came into this body knowing that you would experience the variety and contrast of this magnificent, balanced environment so that you, brilliant, genius, blessed creator that you are, could come to your own conclusions from where you stand as you move along of what you prefer now. Now what do you prefer? Now what? Now what? Given what I know and who I am and where I'm standing, now what do I prefer? What do I want now? And of course, that comes often from knowing what you don't want. When you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And we want to just say at the outset here that if you sort of don't want something, then you sort of do want something. It's proportionate. If you really don't want that, then you really do want this. In other words, the wave on either side of this equation is equivalent in terms of power and bigness. When you really want something, then your belief that you can't have it or it hasn't come yet is really uncomfortable to you. If someone called you on the telephone and said, "Hello, you don't know me. I'm just calling to tell you that I will never call you again," you would say, "Good to know," but you wouldn't care. But if someone you care about says that to you, then you feel strong negative emotion because that big wave has another big wave. Does that make sense to you? So we want you to feel the power of your creation. You said, as you made the decision to come into this physical body, "I will explore and I will personally decide what the improvement from my perspective is." And as you sift through all that is around you, you launch all of these rockets of desire. And what we most want you to hear is that when you launch those rockets, when you send that wave forth, your inner being, who is the you of you of you of you of you, who is the largest, emphatic, most important, eternal part of you, receives that request and becomes that vibrational factor. And all cooperative components are gathered by the powerful law of attraction. And your point of attraction is underway. The only question is, what are you in your humanness doing about this new creation that you've set forth? Are you relaxed and allowing yourself to move in the direction of it? Or are you noticing it hasn't happened yet and pinching yourself off from it? Are you calibrating to what it means? Are you calibrating to the freedom and the clarity of it? Or are you nitpicking over the details of it that have not yet manifested in your garage or in your wherever? So, as we move forward here today, we'll be talking about this calibration business, and it's everything, but it's nothing more than what you already know, in that the law of attraction is a powerful thing. Now just sit with that for a moment. The law of attraction is a powerful thing. It's attraction, it's attraction, it's attraction. And you are source energy. You are love. You are blessed. You are known. You are adored. And when you sync with that part of you, you are powerful. But when you find some, from our point of view, ridiculous excuse to pinch yourself off from the wholeness of who you are by nitpicking too long in a step one part of the equation of knowing what you don't want, then that empty feeling that you feel in the form of a negative emotion that you call frustration all the way to despair is your indicator that your attention, your focus upon whatever it is you are focused upon is not in agreement. It's not calibrated to the focus that your inner being has about it. And in this opposite or opposing calibration, you have factored yourself out of that point of attraction, and now you are in a different point of attraction. Does that make sense to you? That's what negative emotion is. That's what it is every time. Negative emotion is your indicator that you are attracting without your true power, that you are attracting in opposition to who you really are. If you are mean, that's what it means. If you are angry, that's what it means. If you feel lonely or lost, that's what it means. You, because it's attraction, and by the thoughts that you are choosing to think, are disallowing you to be part of the you that is so very different from that. So we get it, why. We really understand why. In your physical form, where you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch, why those things are attractive to you, why you want to give your attention to them. We get it, why you calibrate to conditions. You can see them and hear them and smell them and taste them and touch them. And you can blog about them and talk about them and read about them and join other groups who are doing the same thing about them. We get why you're calibrating to conditions. They're vivid. They are vivid. They're what you want. You are a creator. You are a manifester. You are a powerful creator. You are here to turn thoughts to things.